But anyway, Mary comes from a culture where women are considered less than men, especially when they don't have children. So
Mm-hmm.
she's staying now in Canada with her sister, um, which is far better. And she's a smart lady. She's one smart lady. So
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to supporting one another and learning about different cultures, it's very interesting to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Mm-hmm.
know, I of course know about the oppression of women because Indonesia it's not very different.
Mm-hmm.
I've always known about it, and of course, a lot of cultures who came to the Netherlands, the women over there are oppressed as well. So it's not like
Absolutely.
we don't know
Yes.
about this.
Yes.
Where is she?
Um,
I know where she's from, and now I'm like, when you ask me things on the spot, I draw a blank. It's like
is that
a block.
Mozambique? Yeah.
Yeah,
Mozambique.
so
Mhm. Yes. Is that from Mozambique? I say like African country with that starts
no,
with
no, it's
M.
not Mozambique. I'll get to it later on. I'll get to it.
Yeah,
Just
it's
give
okay.
me
No worries. No worries. Yes,
so
absolutely. Yes. In our country also, like we are working on it, there are there are a lot of progress, around that area. As I mentioned, it depends where you live. Also, like around the cities, women are more. They work, they bring, income to the family. They have, contribution like that. But in the rural areas, still, yeah, like absolutely, like women's are housemakers, like they stay home, they
yeah,
cook for the family, that
yeah.
kind of thing. Absolutely.
Well, I
Mm.
guess that part of it is also embedded in our genes. We are
Mhm.
the ones who automatically take care of the kids because it's imprinted in our
Mhm.
genes, in our nature. But when we grow
Absolutely.
up, of course, we realize, okay, man, you can do the same thing. But when you look at how a guy responds versus how a lady responds to a kid, it's different. There's total different, and that's when you get to understand. Okay, this is why um, women could be better at it as opposed to
Mm.
men because we just hear and see the little things that are going on. But let's get back to
Exactly.
sport. And oh,
Yes,
now
let's
I
get
just want to remember the country.
yes, yes, we have yeah, like this conversation brought a lot of things, like a lot of memories. That's a good thing. So when support here, actually, I used to be a kind of person who doesn't ask for support, but I support my friends, like I just say, okay, they have this kind of thing, I am this, like I always try to be there for them, but I don't ask if I have something, support for, if I have something going on. Then I found that it is very exhausting and I felt lonely also, like and a while ago, my mom passed away, and
Mhm.
I was like, down, depressed a lot. I couldn't function normally, I couldn't function in the house. Also, I was angry, I was hurt, Then I
Yeah,
said, I have to do something about this thing, I have to look for support. Then I went at the university. We have counseling system. They have we pay for that with our tuition. So there are people who can help you with grieving. I went there and I found someone, and I felt relieved after that. I thought like I was, out of control. Like I was the only person who were experiencing that, I thought. But
Mm-hmm.
when I went there, a lot of people are like going through this kind of thing, you know.
True.
So asking for support when things are not normal, you know, when our brain is foggy, you know, when we couldn't decide to do things, you know, sometimes we physically, emotionally, we are exhausted. We don't, for me, I didn't think I was depressed, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying my best like to function normally, but I couldn't. So I went there, they helped me, and it made a difference, you know, like to accept the grieving, you know. Still, I am going through the process, but it is really helpful when we have that support.
So when did your mom pass away?
It is like around 10 months ago.
Okay, so you were, of course, in Canada. She was in Ethiopia.
She was here actually. She was here, and
Okay.
she got sick. But I was expecting like she will live longer than you know that. Uh, After okay, I had my baby daughter, 1.5. Uh, yeah, she's 1.5 now. After I
Mm-hmm.
had my daughter, they told me like my mom has cancer, you know. But they didn't told me when I was pregnant because they thought like if I hear that, that might hurt the baby, the stress, you know, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So after I gave birth to my daughter, they told me like she has that.
Mm-hmm.
All the family heard about it, but I was the only one who
Yeah.
didn't hear about that. So when I found out, it was shocking, and I had newborn baby. I was stressing. I was stressing a lot. I felt like, yeah, it was very challenging. Yeah, then, yeah, she was going through, you know, chemo. That was very hard for her also. So after a while, she just passed away. She said she wanted to go home, Ethiopia. So she went there. I was expecting to go in May with my children to visit her, and she passed away in April.
Mm-hmm.
So it was because of COVID-19. The travel was crazy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was
Yeah,
very
that's hard.
challenging. Yes.
It's hard for two
Uh,
reasons. Because for one, it was unexpected, and
yes.
I think Joe went away because she is experiencing something similar right
Mm-hmm.
now. But of
Mm,
course, then your mom went to a different country, and you couldn't travel there.
mm,
And yeah, Joe knows all about that too, unfortunately. I'm
mm-hmm.
not sure if she's okay with me saying so. I don't think she minds because we share a lot of things. Um,
Mm,
but yes, I get it. You know, when my mom passed away, she passed away not only of old age, well, it was primarily of old age and all the things
mm,
that come with old age. So she was practically
mm-hmm.
89 years old.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
and then of course she got some
Like
physical.
we don't. I'm sorry for saying that, but like 89, that's good, you know, like
Yeah, exactly. And
yeah.
she, you know, she was done with life because my dad had passed 8 years before that. So he passed
Mm-hmm.
away like 9 years now, because they passed away in the same month.
Mm.
Um, and
Still we want our moms to live forever, you know. We want them to
yeah,
be here
yeah,
forever.
that's true.
So,
Well, I
yeah.
did, honestly. But here's the thing, and Joe says that it's very hard because she actually is going through the same thing as you are right now. Her mom has
Mm-hmm.
cancer, and she can die at any minute right now, and she's in a different
Oh.
country. So I can actually go visit her mom, who is across the border, and her mom is 74. And she can't just go there because she's overseas,
mm,
and it's
yeah.
nearby. I mean, we are talking about the UK, but it's yeah, I wish I could
Mm,
just go there and be her, and but I can't.
yeah.
So going back to my mom, uh, I guess my mom was done with life. She
Mm-hmm.
she has experienced a number of years of freedom, and then she got to deal with all the, yeah. I mean, once we go past 30, then we start aging. That's the way it is.
Mm, mm,
And so she couldn't walk that good anymore, and then her short-term memory became a problem. She
mm-hmm.
couldn't keep her balance anymore, and there were a lot of things. And I'm just mentioning a fraction. So fortunately for her, she was able to stay at her house, but
Mm-hmm.
it meant that actually I went there like 4 or 5 times a week. Sometimes I got called by the police early morning, like, oh, the neighbors here screaming, can you please come over? So then
Mm-hmm.
I would have to get up, and then it took me a couple of minutes to get dressed, and then, of course, another 20 minutes to get there. And she
Mm-hmm.
could be very mean in the end, and she was a very loving person. And, my dad was a very strong person, but he was the silent one. So he
Mm-hmm.
almost turned 88, and he was full of life. He wanted to live. He wanted to live, but he had
Mm-hmm.
a bladder cancer. So
Oh.
it was end of story. That's again old age. But my
Mm,
mom, she was the one who told the story. She had me draw. She learned me how to play the piano. Anything spiritual. That
mm,
was my mom.
yeah.
And
Mm,
and it was so important for me to see my mom. Without the mom, the house was empty. My dad could be there, but without my mom, it was empty. And
mm, mm,
but that last year, well, the last half year was getting really hard, because I
mm,
wanted to give her the support she needed, and I wanted to ask for the support that she needed. Because what
mm,
you don't know is I've been struggling with my health, specifically with walking, since 2014. So I always
oh,
had problems with my joints, actually with my ligaments.
uh-huh.
So I'm hyperflexible, which probably isn't that unusual in Ethiopia. These things are kind of normal, probably. But
What is that? What is
being able to do this, flex your hands like this,
okay,
all that stuff.
okay.
So
Uh-huh.
usually people who are a little bit darker, they also have more flexible joints because the ligaments are a little bit weaker. Um,
Oh, that is a thing.
yeah, so my knees and my ankles and everything, my wrists, they just, it all realigns nonstop. So the bones shift
Mm-hmm.
a little bit, because my
Mm-hmm.
my
Mm-hmm.
my ligaments can't hold them together. That's basically what's
Mm-hmm.
going on. So
I'm
when
sorry.
in 2014 I tripped on a break, I twisted my ankle, grabbed a hold of someone. She stepped away, and then
Okay.
it was over and done with. I couldn't walk on 2 feet anymore, and it took
Oh.
me years, well, at first months, to actually get heard and seen. So there was one person who knew what was going on, but the doctors didn't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
So after 4 months, I finally got crutches. Then another 5 months later, they stitched up the ligament, which was torn. And then another 3 years later, 2.5 years, 3.5 years later, that's when they actually they put two bones together, so the tendon attached to the bone couldn't move anymore, because the bone
Mm-hmm.
was moving, and hence the tendon was moving. So for
Mm-hmm.
about 7 years, I couldn't walk on 2 feet. So
Oh.
since not
Wow.
this summer, but the summer before, that's when I started walking again on 2 feet.
Wow.
And since about 2 months, I'm no longer walking with crutches. So when my mom started to walk way worse, And
Mm-hmm.
it was funny because at first she was the one who was doing the cooking and all that stuff, and I couldn't. I
Mm-hmm.
still don't cook because
Mm-hmm.
for me it's unnatural to stand for a long period of time.
Okay.
So I'm still not comfortable doing it. Also has
Mm-hmm.
to do with my knees. So my ankle's fixed now, and now my knee is,
Oh, wow,
gone
that's good.
haywire.
That's good. Yeah.
And that's okay. But at some point, when we would cross literally in the kitchen, at first I would be holding the countertop, and then she would be holding the countertop, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh. I know what you're doing. You can't keep your balance. That's why you're holding the countertop. So at some
Um,
point, I was improving and I could go around her, and she needed more support. And I had learned the
mm-hmm.
hard way to ask for support, literally ask, and do it
Mm-hmm.
again and again and again and again. But because of what she had experienced in life, and then we go back
Mm-hmm.
to all the things, we were talking about in Indonesia, being slept around, being a woman, getting to the Netherlands, being black, what she called black. Um, um, she didn't have any trust in other people. So
Mm-hmm.
she didn't want any help because she was afraid that she would be taken out of her home. And I said, no, mom,
Mm-hmm.
you can stay at home, but you need support, physical therapist, other
Mm-hmm.
people, equipment. And
Mm-hmm.
um, so, yeah, that was, um, and that made it hard. It made it hard for
Yeah.
her because at some point
Mm.
she couldn't get out of the bed anymore until I got there and I literally fed her.
Mm-hmm.
I had a slice of cake, put it into little pieces, and put it on a fork, and then okay, eat like you do with
Wow.
little children.
Wow.
And
This
then she
really
would
nice of
regain,
you.
energy again, and she could get
Mm-hmm.
up again. And of course, I was there, and she felt more secure, doing her
Mm-hmm.
thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so for her, it was very different. She was literally at the end of her rope, and
Mm-hmm.
because she didn't want any support, um, she 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 was stuck. She was stuck,
Mm-hmm.
and she was going down the drain. And I was doing the opposite. So I was, yeah, I'll be honest and I'll say I was furious with her. And she knew,
Mm-hmm.
she knew, and she
Mm-hmm.
couldn't stand it because I was telling her, do this, do that, do the other. And she didn't
Mm-hmm.
accept it. She didn't accept
Oh,
it. So
yeah.
when it comes to support, you can only give support when people are open to receive support. And
Absolutely.
I yeah,
Absolutely. I agree. I agree on that one.
yeah,
Even like, yeah, I agree because if they don't allow you to support them, it is going to be very challenging. You can do what you can, like what you guessed they might need.
yeah,
Uh, so yes, I understand absolutely.
yeah. And then of course there's the other side. And here's the thing: what I've come to realize that it's easier to get support from strangers than from those who are close around you, which is
Absolutely.
kind of weird if you think about it. But I remember asking other people for help. Please help me. And especially those close to me who were like uh, seeing me like daily, they got
Mm-hmm.
tired of me asking for help because they
Mm-hmm.
knew if I was going to ask something that probably was, can you hand me this or can you hand me that or can you pick up this or that?
Mm-hmm.
Until, of course, they would experience the same thing. And
Uh-huh.
that's when things would turn around. But I had to learn to really ask for support. And
Mm-hmm.
um, so you said something else about um, asking support and giving support. So I've
Mm.
been a trainer for decades now, and because
Uh-huh.
I was a trainer, I know what it's like if people don't reach out.
Mm-hmm.
As a trainer, you need the energy from the other people. So you need people
Mm-hmm.
having you ask questions. But as a trainer, I also know that people are not. um, eager to ask the first question. So
Mm-hmm.
when I
Mm-hmm.
see people need help, and that's also what was seen on Movement Makers,
Mm-hmm.
that's basically when I say, okay, yeah, I'm here. So if
Yes, yes,
Elena says, oh, you can go and talk to Lexi, then sure, I'm there
absolutely.
if I see it,
Absolutely. Yeah,
very
I
formal.
really appreciate. Yeah, you were there, like, I'm here for you, you know. Yeah, I
Yeah,
really appreciated that. Uh-huh.
I like it, and I know my way around Instagram, and I don't know if Joe's still there. In my turn, I will ask Joe, Joe, help me out with hashtags, all that stuff, because she knows how to build a following using hashtags, and I don't. And that's also a little bit when it comes to fear, what's holding me back. What if I don't do it correctly? But if I don't do it at all, of course, I don't make any progress. So,
Yes, absolutely. I understand.
yeah. So
Um,
what would be your number one lesson when it comes to support?
I think when it comes to support, my number one lesson is like, if okay, I try to help people like friends. I try to advise, I take coaching classes and I tell my friend, if you need this, if you need that, that kind of thing. But support, as you mentioned, we have to support people who are willing to work on that thing also. Sometimes we think like when they ask us, we just say yes, yes, yes. And by the end of the day, we feel like used, we feel like taken for granted, you know.
Hmm.
So, like, learning who you are supporting, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
People might think of you like, okay, she's there, she's not going anywhere, you know. Can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? Can you do, like, yes, 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 all the time? I think we need to have boundary. We need to support ourselves first, like emotionally, having our thing get together first. Like, what I mean by that is we have to learn to say no sometimes also. Like, if we are not willing to do that thing, we have to learn to say no, having
Yeah.
boundary,
Hmm.
and also taking care of our emotional health, like mental health. Sometimes we might hide in supporting people, we might not have time to see what is going on inside.
Yeah.
So sometimes we consider, like, if we are eager to contribute for other people, always, 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 support other people all the time,
Yeah.
then we just come home and then, like, go to bed.
Then
Then
you're drowned.
we have, yeah, we have to see what's going on inside, because I believe I am learning this in a hard way, and I have to let go some people also, like, because I can't make everybody happy.
No, that's
So,
true.
absolutely. So when it comes to support, of course, I believe in support, supporting each other. Be positive, inspire each other, elevate each other, and at the same time, I believe everybody's on our own path,
Yeah.
on our
Yeah, I
own
loved what
journey.
you said when you were talking about we are each on our own lane. That's what you started with. And I was like,
Mm,
yeah, that's a good one. We are each on our own lane. And sometimes we intertwine. Yeah.
mm, mhm.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I heard a story. A guy was telling a story. He was telling it like, Lexi is, the celebrity, what do you call it? The main character in your movie.
Hmm.
Okay? Your life is your movie. The
Hmm.
guy is like, was saying like that. Your life is your movie. and you have a script how you are going to live that life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there are other people, they have their own script, okay, how they live their life.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you are forcing someone to be with you, like to inspire them and to say like, let's do this, let's do that, but they already have a script. Your script is like fifth ground, okay? Their script is like third ground. And
Yeah.
then you are like, throw your script and follow me.
Yeah, and that
How
doesn't
is it
always
possible?
match.
You know, sometimes it might be very challenging to be with people if we are always victim minded, always, then we will not have that what do you call it, that energy, you know, like that positivity.
Yes.
uh, so like, for example, like-minded people, believe nation, movement makers, you know, surrounding ourselves with like-minded people, I think that's very inspiring.
Yes.
And yeah,
I
absolutely.
agree. I agree. And you know, I've had Dutch masterminds, and it just didn't work out the same way as it is with movement makers. You know, being part of movement makers and meeting one another every other week. You know, for an
Mm,
hour and a half, and also doing the challenges. So also doing it outside of the hour and a half. Oh, this one died just now.
mhm, mhm,
um,
mhm,
it makes all the difference. It makes all the
mhm,
difference, and I've grown so much in this last year um,
mhm,
because of movement makers. I dare say, and I don't know if Joe's still there. So Joe and I got to meet on a different platform. We did meet on Instagram,
mhm,
and we have found support with one another as well, because she was good
mhm,
in certain things, I'm good at certain things, and
mhm,
um, she started speaking out because that's my thing. I teach people to speak out, and
mhm,
and she realized, hey, this is helping. And so now she's on the show with me like every Wednesday, whenever that's
mhm.
possible. And so yeah,
What
it's
is sorry, what is the show about? Like you just go live and have conversation, or what do you do?
It's about what I do is I give people a voice. So
Uh-huh.
I learn them to speak up and speak out,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
so they won't turn inside, starting to hurt themselves, whether by drinking too much, using other substances, cutting
Mhm.
themselves, or whatever it is,
Mhm.
and in the long run, harming other people as well. So if you
Mhm.
just bottle it up inside and you don't give it an outlet, you basically
Mhm.
usually start numbing yourself, and at some point it wants to explode. It's like Pandora's box. It needs to
Mhm.
come out.
Mhm.
And if you are not capable of controlling it, you might do things you regret when other people are around. And even if you
Mhm.
don't do it physically, um, if you hurt yourself or you harm yourself, you influence other people as well, whether it's your kids or your loved ones.
Yes.
Um,
Ah.
so, uh,
Mhm.
so I teach people that it's okay to say what's going on in your mind, and if you don't
Mhm.
understand the other one, then I'll help translate what the other one is saying. So there's difference
Mhm.
between men and women, and when we're talking
Mhm.
about inclusion, we're also talking about people who are, for instance, those who have Asperger syndrome, so who have
Mhm.
autism, or who have
Mhm.
ADHD or borderline, or
Mhm.
PTSD, you know, who are traumatized, and they have a different manual. They have a different
Mm.
way they work, and somehow I've touched upon one or the other. You know, sometimes because of my own experiences, it could be because I've talked to a lot of other people or I've guided people. Um, but as a result, I started doing this show, which is about people who need support and also for people
Mhm.
to give support to them.
Wow.
So
Absolutely.
that's basically what I'm doing. I don't
So
know.
you are
Joe,
connecting
are
people.
you there? If you are, do you want to come on and say a little something? I think she's going in and out. Um,
Mhm.
but that's my show on Wednesday and on Monday, because there's
Mhm.
another one. That was Michael from Wheels and Warriors. So I don't know if you know, Michael's in a wheelchair,
Oh,
and
yes, yes, I follow their live conversation. Absolutely, yes.
yeah. So
Yeah.
on Monday we have a show together, Michael and I,
Mm-hmm.
and because I've had a number of physical injuries or physical limitations, let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
We try to talk about, okay, so yeah, we need to ask for support, and he's all about empowerment. So I'm about inclusion, speaking out, he's about empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
And we try to see the positive in all the things. So,
Mm-hmm.
just to give you an example, we've been talking about spinners in his wheelchair. So, basically, that's to pivot the wheels of his wheelchair. I've pinned my
Mm-hmm.
crutches, so they have covers and they're like little bracelets on there, and they all
Uh-huh.
have function. So when I need to attach something to my backpack, and I don't have the necessary tools on my backpack, then I can take something from my crutches and I can actually
Okay.
attach it to the backpack. It's a little small
Oh,
things,
okay.
but it
Oh,
also defines me or my authenticity. So, like, I've had zebra crutches for years. I still have them, but
mm-hmm.
I've got new covers now. And people would see it and they were like, "Oh, there's a zebra walking by." It was funny. So
Okay.
I call them my safari crutches. Um, yeah,
Safari.
so and those are the little things,
Mm.
I still ask for medical assistance whenever I'm at the airport because I can't go for long distances. And also, it really depends on the day. So, like a couple of
Mm-hmm.
weeks ago, I went into the shower and this was my knee. It went like, wheep. Well, that hurts.
Oh,
So
oh.
I couldn't crouch down anymore. I couldn't get anything from the floor. And every time I would, I was like, that so at that
Mm.
moment, I may be able to walk, but not long distances. As far as I can still, I have to relearn it again to walk again, basically.
So,
So
are you doing some work like, what do you call it? You know, I don't know what, I
I
couldn't
go to the physical
find the word.
therapist twice a week.
Physiotherapy, are you doing
Yeah,
that
physical
now?
therapy. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Mm.
one day I do stability exercises, and
Mhm.
I have to stand on one foot, and we throw a ball to one another, and I'll do it also from 90-degree angle, so
Uh-huh.
I have more movement in my lower back as well.
Mhm.
And the
Mhm.
other day, if I feel up with it, and that's a big if, I do box training, and of course, they always still have to realign me straight after. So they basically realign my wrist, my shoulder, sometimes my knees and my ankles, but most of the time it's my elbows and especially my wrist and my shoulders and my back because
Wow. Mm.
because everything is so loose. Other things get really tight to compensate for it.
Mhm.
So I'm
Mhm.
still learning all that stuff.
Wow.
But we are trying to see the fun in it.
Yes, I
And
admire the positivity you are doing.
yes,
I think that's amazing, really.
yeah. So I've got a
Mm.
brace, for instance. It's got the American flag on it. It's got the stars
Uh-huh.
and the stripes because I love stars and stripes.
Mhm.
So it
Excellent.
can be missed, and everyone who sees it's like, oh, that's so cool. So
Mm.
pretty soon I'll have a second one for my right knee, so that's going to be mirrored. And with stars
Okay.
and stripes on there too. And
Mhm.
it's like I went to the surgeon last week, And I said to them,
Mhm.
I really want to go to a concert, but they only have like wheelchair seats left. I said, well, I
Mhm.
still have the wheelchair. It's in the back of my car, because
Mhm.
it's like whenever I need to be somewhere for a long time, I can stand for a long
Mhm.
time, especially now I'm not using my crutches anymore. So that's why it's in the
Uh-huh.
back of my car. But
Uh-huh.
I'm actually not using it anymore, so it feels a little weird. So I said, I don't know if I need to do it or not. He said, well, just do it. And I was like, okay, thank
Mhm.
you. So I bought the tickets. Uh,
Wow.
you know,
Yeah, yeah, like making this much progress, I think I think it is a lot because you used to use that. Now you are working by yourself, right?
yes.
I think it is like very big progress.
Yeah, today I hopped on my bike, so that was
Oh,
nice. And it's the
wow.
little things. I went up an escalator last week for the first time in years,
Wow.
and I always thought that was very scary, and especially when I couldn't keep my balance anymore, that was really scary for me to go up an escalator.
Mhm.
And I was like, confident going up and going down.
You did it
And
anyways, right?
yeah, and so
Yeah.
those are the little wins, those are the little victories, and for some they
Mm.
are very small, and for me they are actually quite huge. So and that's what I talk
Thanks.
about with Michael. So Michael and I just talk about how people look at us, um, and also what people are missing, especially when people are in wheelchairs. And I've had friends in wheelchairs, and
Mm-hmm.
also I I was in a wheelchair a couple of times myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I've got entire stories about being in a wheelchair, by the way. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but one of the things people don't realize is that being in a wheelchair means you're lower compared to other people,
Mm-hmm.
and people tend to look at the person who is at their same eye level. So when you have someone
Mm-hmm.
with you when you're in a wheelchair, who are they going to talk to? Not to you, but to the other one who's pushing you around. And
Mm-hmm.
those are the little things that we want to bring attention to. So this
Mm-hmm.
weekend, I went to look for recreational houses.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so they are in recreational parks, and you can buy them. And my first question actually on the email was, can I make this so accessible for disabled people?
Mm-hmm.
Because when I go to a hotel, and especially like a year ago and long before that, especially when I couldn't stand on 2 feet, I knew
Mm-hmm.
the importance of having a chair, of having something to hold on to,
Mm-hmm.
all those little things. And so that
Yeah,
was my first question.
um,
Can I make it accessible for people who are disabled?
yeah,
And
these are the things we don't think every day about, like, for example, if you are the voice to bring that change, like to be considerate, then,
mhm.
you know, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. So it
yeah.
was, and it was first for me because I never thought about buying a place and renting it out to other people.
Mhm.
But lately I have been because other people were doing it as well, and it was funny because it was literally the first sentence I think that I was writing down in that email. Can I make it
Mhm.
accessible for disabled people? And I was like, oh, that's funny, you
Mhm.
know. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good cause. Like even having that show, you know, like
yeah,
sometimes Michael was also explaining about this. Sometimes people, if they want to help, sometimes they think like, if I want to help that person, or if I ask them if they need help, they might feel something,
yeah.
you
But
know
it's
that.
nice if people actually offer it. And we can always say, no, we don't need it, but thank you. But the fact that
Mm,
they might consider it, That makes all the
Mhm.
difference. And if
Mm.
they don't offer it, I'm the first one to say hi or tap, someone on the arm, like, I'm
Yes,
here, hello.
absolutely. Absolutely.
And if they
Yeah.
ignore me, I'll do it again. And then if they ignore me, then I'll do it a little bit harder. Hey, I'm here. Yeah, I'm
Yes.
trying to get your attention.
Absolutely.
And those are the
Absolutely.
things that we want to talk about, because you can actually get really profound relationships and discussions and conversations with people um,
Yes.
because of it.
Absolutely.
And sometimes they are the angel who come in your life for like a minute or maybe half an hour, and then they disappear again. But still,
Absolutely. 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 I believe also like the more challenge we have, the more we try to find solution for that challenge, you know? So
yes,
the more bright, the more light we bring to the world, I believe, because of our that kind of experience, we can see that other people can't see, you know?
that's true. And once we've been exposed to needing support from other people because of one
Mm-hmm.
way or another, then we look at giving support to people in a very different manner. And of course, it's
Mm-hmm.
not supposed to be like you go across your own boundaries. I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
always have to keep your own boundaries in mind. And I'm the first
Mm-hmm.
one to know how important it is, because I've had burnouts and all that other stuff, because I
Mm-hmm.
want to help people. And I had to learn again and again and again and again, to set boundaries. No, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
going to do this anymore. No, I'm choosing me, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
but yes, it's finding that balance between people who want to be supported, want to be helped,
Yes.
and who also appreciate it. So there's an exchange in energy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I guess that's,
Absolutely.
and I really am very grateful that you actually brought it up, setting your own boundaries. Because that's the
Yeah.
thing with support. We always want to, a lot of people want to give, 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 but they don't know
Yes.
how to ask back. And then, of course, there are those who not only don't want to, but are afraid to
Mm.
ask for support.
Mm.
So, and once we
Absolutely.
give support, we're afraid to say, no, stop. you know,
Yeah.
I need to preserve some energy for me, and then of course,
Absolutely.
at
So,
some point,
yes, I support like giving support. It is very important. It is a need also.
yes,
Like giving support to other people, it is a need. You know,
yeah,
when we support someone, we feel like we are contributing something. You know,
yeah,
we feel
absolutely,
alive. Yeah, we feel alive. We feel like we our life has meaning. You know,
yes,
that is very meaningful.
yeah,
But we have to see also what's going on with with our life as well. Sometimes when we have serious thing going on, we just brush that aside and then we focus on other people, helping them, you know, be there for a lot of people, but not dealing with our own challenge,
hmm,
sometimes. I find it by my experience also. I am ready to help anybody, but I didn't have time for myself. I just,
yeah,
even with grief, with depression, sometimes if we are sometimes I can be depressed at the same time active with outside, I can
hmm,
be very active, helpful to other people, but when I come to like when I am alone, I can't stand myself alone, I have to be
yeah.
with the people all the time.
Yeah,
So
and we sometimes need those other people to elevate our energy. But yes,
absolutely.
where is that person that you need to talk to when you are on your own again? And that's
Mhm.
I think that's a pitfall of lots of people. So I've got clients I'm a coach, by the way. I'm a coach. I'm a therapist. I'm a trainer. And, you
Wow.
name it, and I'm it. Um, so
Wow.
when it comes um, to supporting other people, just recently I picked someone up. I said, okay, you're not going to travel, so I'm going to pick you up, and then we are
Mm.
going to travel together.
Mm.
So you're going to be at the place where you need to be. And sometimes that's the way it works. And if I know someone needs a lot of help, I will check in with them daily, sometimes a
Mhm.
couple of times a day. Like, okay, how are you doing? What's going on? And depending on who it is and what they need,
Mhm.
I might actually ask questions like, okay, so how did things go? Who did you see? How much did you have to
Mhm.
drink? Did you check
Mhm.
your mailbox? I'm just, at random. Did you
Okay.
sleep?
Okay. Okay.
Depending on what it is they need. And that way
Absolutely.
you can make them see like, oh yeah, this is what I was after, this is what I need to do. I went this way. Now let's go back, focus on that one lane you were talking about. Instead of going from
Absolutely.
one lane to another one and then
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I learned in a hard way anyways. But now I think, uh, yeah, still work in progress.
Yes. So we've been talking for almost 2 hours now.
Oh my God. Yeah, I didn't
Yes,
know
yes.
even. Yes.
It's
So,
past midnight.
Lexi, I have one question,
Yes.
like to make it to have a little bit fun around support. Okay, if support is a thing, if it is a picture or a thing, how do you represent it? Like,
If it was a piece of art, you mean?
yes, like if it was a color, a piece of art, or a thing, it can be anything. Like, what do
Hmm.
you um,
I would
represent?
describe the ocean. I would
Oh,
describe the ocean because it comes and it goes, it surrounds you, especially,
oh,
if you see those little waves that come to the beach,
okay.
and it may come unexpected and uh, throw you off a little bit, but
Uh-huh.
it's also it's there. You can hear it, you can hear the sound, you can smell it, and well, depending on where you are, of course the colors are different.
Yeah,
um,
that's
but
beautiful.
it can be very strong, that ocean. The waves can be
Mm.
gigantic and enormous. I mean, just look at the storms and all that stuff, but it can also be very, very gentle. So the
Wow.
ocean, and I'm not saying it would be the Atlantic Ocean. I'm not going to say it would be North Sea, but the ocean in general.
Yeah, I love it. It is very beautiful how you said it and how you, yeah, represented the metaphor for support. Like ocean is your metaphor for support.
Yeah, I love
That
it.
is
I didn't
beautiful.
know until you asked.
The
How about
other
yours?
thing
How about
for
yours?
for me, it is like a fluffy cloud,
Yes.
that fluffy cloud that you feel like relaxed, you feel like safe,
Yes.
you feel like, it has your back kind of thing,
Yeah.
that
Yeah, I
fluff.
totally get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the other thing I would like to ask you, for Lexi to feel supported, what has to happen? For example, like for you to feel someone supported you, what has to happen for you?
Well, quite honestly, I feel supported by you right now because we did a
Mm-hmm.
live and you asked some amazing questions, man.
No, thank you.
There were also other people watching, and they also supported us. asking
Mm-hmm.
questions. So
Absolutely.
I guess when it comes to support, it's nice to know there's someone in the background. So when I have to do things on my own, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
entirely on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And there's someone, having my back. So especially when I go live, I'm not afraid to do it on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I know that not always everyone can be present, but I like it when people are around, and even if they're only texting questions, so they're not
Mm-hmm.
visible on camera, but they're um, asking questions, or they give me
Mm-hmm.
something to talk about during the live. It's
Mm-hmm.
that going back and forth, um, being able to brainstorm with people.
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
that's basically what I need, like, okay, so if there's someone that I can knock on the door, what would you do, give me some input.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just,
Mm-hmm.
give you my thoughts, and then you come back with, okay, this makes sense, this doesn't make sense, all that stuff.
Okay.
So
Wow.
what would you need?
Yeah, I think like you already said it, a lot of things for me to feel supported, like that feeling of hurt, for example, when I have conversation with someone is listening, not because they have to say back things for me, like sometimes we listen so that we respond things for that person.
Hmm.
When we really, really listen,
Hmm.
we settle and listen. When someone listened to me like that, like heard the feeling, that one, and also having great conversation, with a flow, not, gossiping or something, but about life, elevating each other,
Yes.
supporting each other.
Yes,
And
like we did
like,
today.
yeah, absolutely. That like we did today. So yes, absolutely. I feel like that, supported like that. My final question: what do you advise for the people who are not like someone who feel like they are strong, they don't want to ask any support? So, but they have the need for support, but they don't know how to ask for support. So, what do you advise them?
There, you are asking two different questions, because
Uh-huh.
one question is, what do you do with people who need support but don't know they need support, so they're not going to
Uh-huh.
ask for it. That's a
Okay.
difficult one. And then
Uh-huh.
there's the other one, people who know they need support but they're not inclined to ask for it. So the good thing is we have Google nowadays, and we have YouTube, we have social media, and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people start to find answers online. So that's a good
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would say, actually, to the people who are surrounding those people, so not
Mm-hmm.
to the people themselves, but the people who are close to those,
Mm-hmm.
open your eyes, listen, see what's going on, and if you know someone needs help, even if they do not ask for it, don't
Mm-hmm.
wait and see, but be there. As for hang on, the people themselves, um, go out there and talk to strangers.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to
Mm-hmm.
strangers, because
Yeah,
it's amazing how strangers are willing to help you out. And sometimes it's just a
absolutely.
conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
As for those who do not want to be helped, yeah, that's an entirely different story altogether, because it's very hard to
Mhm,
help the ones who do not want to be helped.
mm,
And I guess I come back to the environment again.
mhm,
Um, But one thing people can do is start writing things down
Mm-hmm.
and try to figure out when you are feeling like you are getting support or when
Mm-hmm.
you're not getting support.
Oh.
So I actually have this course. Um, um, what is it called? Oh my God, I don't know anymore. I'll put it in the link in the description.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
um, but just writing things down and figuring out
Mm-hmm.
this is costing me energy and this is giving me energy, that could already
Mm-hmm.
help. So those are a few things, but I would especially say to the people in their environment, give support, see what they need, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what my shows are about, especially the one on the Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
They are for the people to listen to, and that also includes like these lives on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but they're also for the people who know people who could use a little bit of support. So they gather
Mm-hmm.
their thoughts, get some ideas, all that stuff. So how about you? What would you do? Say.
Yes, for me, as I said, like if they are, like, why they are not support, they are not asking for support. What is the reason behind that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, some of us we are afraid of someone reject us. You know, we are afraid of rejection,
Mm-hmm.
maybe. You know, so like practicing little by little. You know, so like asking for help, it is like muscle.
Yeah, it's
And
one step at a time.
yeah, one step at a time, and have no don't expect too much, you know, like if you expect when you ask something, you have to be ready to hear no and yes. It is like 50-50%. We
Yeah,
don't expect to say yes, for the people to say yes all the time.
yeah,
So
yeah.
expecting both ways and also practicing, because if we are the ones like we don't ask for support at the beginning, it might take a lot of courage to do that,
Yes,
because
yes, that's true. And I
absolutely.
still will say that asking strangers usually will turn up a yes more than those close to you. But then again,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're married to someone, um, communication is key, especially if you want to grow old together and when you're staying together
Absolutely.
because you have kids and teens. What is it you want to show them? What is it you want to teach them? And if you want to
Mm-hmm.
show them that you don't talk to one another and don't communicate, what do you expect
Absolutely.
will happen with your kids? And parents
Mm-hmm.
usually love their kids dearly, so they don't want anything bad to happen to them. So be
Absolutely.
the example because you are leaving a legacy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That is absolutely fantastic way of saying it, because sometimes we might not even realizing what we are doing. We might be like repeating what our parents did because we didn't teach ourselves